Welcome to Chapter 6, the Food and Alcohol Sector. In this chapter, we'll take an in-depth look at how food and alcohol services are regulated across Canada, the legal frameworks involved, and the crucial responsibilities placed on operators to ensure consumer safety. Why is regulation so critical in this industry? Poor quality food or unsafe preparation conditions can lead to serious harm, including food-borne illnesses, allergic reactions, and even fatalities. With the customer having little control over how food is prepared, the responsibility falls squarely on operators and the regulatory bodies overseeing them. In Canada, the food and alcohol industry is regulated at 3 levels: federal, provincial, and municipal. Each level plays a distinct role in maintaining the safety and quality of the products and services delivered to consumers. But what exactly are these roles? Let's break it down. At the federal level, the primary concern is food safety. The Food and Drugs Act and the Safe Food for Canadians Act govern food production and set standards for the quality and safety of food and beverages. Enforcement is carried out by Health Canada and the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, or CFIA. These agencies oversee everything from food recalls to allergen alerts, helping businesses and consumers stay informed. Provincial and municipal governments, on the other hand, are responsible for regulating food service operations at restaurants, cafes, and other establishments. Each province has its own set of rules regarding licensing, food handling, hygiene standards, and inspections. Let's take Ontario as an example. Here, the Ministry of Health regulates food safety, while local public health units handle inspections and enforcement. This dual layer of oversight ensures food service operators meet the necessary standards to protect their customers. Provincial laws require food service businesses to obtain licenses, which come with specific requirements for the facilities themselves. These include ensuring proper ventilation, adequate lighting, and access to potable water. The setup of kitchens, storage areas, and equipment must meet hygiene standards to prevent contamination. Whether it's a food truck or a large franchise, these regulations ensure that both the food preparation environment and the food itself are safe for consumers. Alongside statutory regulations, common law plays a major role in food and alcohol service. Businesses have a duty of care to their patrons, meaning they are legally obligated to serve food that is fit for consumption. If they fail to meet this standard, they can be held liable in negligence. Take the case of Heimler Veef Calvert Caterers Limited, where a caterer was held responsible for serving food that caused typhoid fever at a wedding. This case illustrates how businesses must ensure food safety or face serious legal consequences. Real-life cases show the impact of liability. In the case of GV Whitespot Limited, a customer contracted botulism after consuming contaminated food. The court found the restaurant in breach of contract because the food wasn't of merchantable quality. These cases set important precedents, reinforcing that businesses must uphold the highest standards in food safety. Alcohol service is another highly regulated area, particularly under provincial laws. Operators must obtain the appropriate licenses, adhere to strict service hours, and ensure that their staff are trained in responsible alcohol service. This ensures that both patrons and the public are protected from the risks associated with overconsumption. There are various types of licenses available for serving alcohol. Whether it's for a restaurant, brew pub, or an entertainment venue, the license specifies the conditions under which alcohol can be served. For example, some licenses allow bring-your-own wine options, while others require specific entertainment conditions, such as the presence of a live stage. Commercial hosts must monitor patrons' consumption. Commercial hosts, such as bar and restaurant operators, have a duty of care to ensure that intoxicated patrons do not pose a risk to themselves or others. The case of Jordan House Luton-Wimmenau illustrates this responsibility. Here, a hotel was found liable after an intoxicated patron was ejected and subsequently injured on the highway. Licensing violations carry serious consequences. Licensing authorities take violations very seriously. Businesses that fail to comply with regulations, whether by over-serving patrons or allowing underage drinking, can face penalties such as fines, license suspension, or even permanent closure. It's essential that operators follow all legal requirements to avoid these consequences. Social hosts versus commercial hosts. While commercial hosts are heavily regulated, the responsibilities of social hosts, such as individuals hosting private events, are less strict. The Supreme Court case Childs v. Desormeaux clarified that social hosts typically do not owe the same duty of care to third parties unless there are specific circumstances that suggest otherwise. To manage their responsibilities effectively, many operators implement standard operating procedures, or SOPs. These written procedures help staff perform essential tasks consistently, whether it's sanitizing equipment, storing food correctly, or managing alcohol service. SOPs protect both the business and its customers by ensuring compliance with regulations. In the case of Highmore v. Hoskins Greening, a nightclub was able to avoid liability by demonstrating that it had strict SOPs in place for dealing with intoxicated or disorderly patrons. Courts don't expect perfection, but they do expect that businesses take all reasonable steps to prevent harm. In summary, the food and alcohol service industry in Canada is governed by a complex web of regulations designed to protect consumers. Whether it's food safety, licensing requirements, or responsible alcohol service, operators must remain vigilant to ensure compliance. By following these rules, businesses safeguard their customers, protect themselves from liability, and contribute to public safety. To dive deeper into the legal and regulatory framework of the food and alcohol sector, check out Chapter 6 of the Food and Alcohol Sector. Explore more case studies, regulations, and insights to help you better understand this crucial industry.